Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
This is why when kids look at you and say, what's a minute? They don't know what a minute is, because to a parent, a minute is sometime in the near-ish future.
And now here's the stars of our show, my mum and dad.
So we're just about to record the podcast. I'm trying to load the program that we record into. It's an Adobe program. And I say to Kylie, it's a little bit slow to start up. We'll be there soon. And Kylie says to me,
so are you sometimes. It's all good.
a bit slow to start up. Actually really struggling today. It's been an amazing week. Earlier this week, I got to talk to a live audience. No more webinars. In Southeast Queensland, I was able to stand in front of an audience of real people instead of staring at a screen or a camera and talk to people for nearly 2 hours on raising kids and dealing with anxiety in your child. It was amazing. Down on the Gold Coast, Helensvale Library, fantastic auditorium, full house. It just felt so good. I came alive. I really, really love talking to real people rather than talking to screens. And
you must have given them your life, because you've woken up with not very much life today.
No, well, and this is the thing. I gave it everything and it felt so good. But when I do live presentations in front of audiences, it means that I have to travel to them and then I get home late, or I'm staying in hotels or whatever. Obviously, I came home because we live in Brizzy. It was only a drive back up the highway. The thing is, when I got home, as you know, because you waited up for me, I didn't want to go to sleep. I knew I was exhausted. I'd been up early that morning and I had an early start again the next morning, but I just didn't want to go to sleep. And I knew I was going to be tired, but I was so in the moment.
Well, you actually even said, let's watch an episode of our show.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you sure? And you're like, yeah, I'm fine.
And what I was really saying was, I'll let morning guy worry about that, because I'm night guy. And I'm okay. Do you remember that Jerry Seinfeld skit where he's talking about morning guy and night guy? We've played it on the podcast before.
You ever do this like late at night and you're watching TV and I stay up late because I'm night guy? Getting up after 5 hours sleep? That's morning guy's problem. That's not my problem. I'm night guy.
Night guy?
Night guy always screws morning guy.
Really?
Oh, yes. Because night guy has control of when you go to sleep. Morning guy has to get up. There's nothing morning guy can do to get back at night guy. The only thing morning guy could do is to try and oversleep enough times so that day guy loses his job and then night guy has no more money to go out.
Well, that would be good.
That's the only thing that morning guy could do.
So right now I'm morning guy and I hate night guy. And I'm trying to do a podcast and you know
it
what?
only lasted 5 minutes of the episode anyway.
I know. I remember you, I distinctly remember you waking me up because I was asleep on your shoulder trying to watch whatever we were watching. I had no idea what was going on. And you're like, I remember you saying, should we turn this off? And I'm like, no. Keep watching it. This is good.
As his eyes slowly close.
So this morning, I'm morning guy who hates night guy. But can I just say, it felt so good to be able to present in front of a live audience. And as we continue to see Australia opening up bit by bit, the ACT today has some newfound freedoms. Victoria is talking about getting closer. We've got New South Wales who are again moving closer and closer to having the kids back at school now that Freedom Day has arrived. And in Queensland, we've been living kind of normally-ish for some time. Same with South Australia and Western Australia and the NT. But it feels so good to know that pretty soon, as much as I hate leaving you, it's going to be so nice to stand in front of audiences again and give talks and watch people's faces. Oh, that's the other thing.
Masks.
Masks.
I was going to say that to you.
I'm talking to
You've got
all these people.
but you can't actually see their expressions
like,
because they're completely covered up.
I hope that they're smiling behind those masks because it feels like I said something really funny right then. But you can hear the laughter at least. So it was really nice. Anyway, we're Justin and Kylie Coulson. I'm the founder of happyfamilies.com.au, the author of 6 books about raising happy families, and together we are the parents of 6 daughters. And every Friday we have this conversation called I'll Do Better Tomorrow. And my I'll Do Better Tomorrow is not about going to bed on time, although it probably could be. But this is where we share highlights and lowlights from the week that was, the things that we got right, the things that we got wrong, so that we can be more reflective as parents, because this is how you improve. This is how you do the stuff better, by reflecting on what happened and then making a commitment to being more intentional. So, Kylie, for I'll Do Better Tomorrow, do you want to go first today, ladies before gentlemen?
Well, the other day I asked Emily if she would go and tidy her room.
For those of you who are new to the podcast, Emily is our youngest of 6 daughters. She is 7.
And her room was a mess.
I think a mess is understating the danger that people would experience if they walked in there. Like, she's kind of turned it upside down and inside out. You really couldn't find the carpet.
Well, she has a dinosaur room and she has a handful of fake plants. Well, they would just, like, there was a jungle. You couldn't even walk in the door.
Yeah, but she's got books everywhere and Lego
Dinosaurs
pieces.
and rocks. And
yeah. And things that she's brought in from outside because she's got a jungle room. She brings plants in from the garden.
So I had asked her if she would go and do that, and I had a few bits and pieces to do, and she said, well, I need you to come and help me. And I said, that's okay. If you just get started, Mummy will come in and help you very soon. Well, about maybe half an hour had gone past, and I passed her in the lounge room. She was nowhere near the bedroom, and I knew instinctively that nothing had been done. And I said, Emily, I need you to go and clean your room. And she said, I need your help. And I said, I promise you I will come and help you. I just need you to start. And she looked at me and she said, but you just make it more fun.
Right. Which might be true, or maybe she's just lazy.
But what I love about that is sometimes the job just feels so overwhelming.
Especially for a 7-year-old.
Even if you're 34 or 44 or I don't even know how old I am, 21.
Let's go with 34. I like that.
And sometimes it's just nice to have somebody there.
Yeah.
And she recognises and knows that if Mum's in there, I just make it a bit more bearable.
Can I throw something in that is so? There's a really nice sound to that. I'll do better tomorrow, but there's also a little bit of a dark side to it, and that is that you said go and get started, and I'll be with you shortly. And 30 minutes later, you were still doing what you were doing, and she was playing in the living room. We've got to remember that when we say to the kids, "I'll be there in a minute," this is why when kids look at you and say, "What's a minute?" They don't know what a minute is, because to a parent, a minute is sometime in the near-ish future. It might be 30 seconds or it might be 15 minutes. And
Well, I was feeling good because she said I made it fun, but you're now making me look like I'm the bad one.
That's the idea. I'll do better tomorrow. I am going to share my one right after the break.
I will tell you that it did get cleaned and we did have fun.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
Are screens creating tension at home? Tweens, Teens and Screens is a webinar to guide families to healthy, safe super screen solutions. Buy it today at happyfamilies.com.au/shop.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time poor parent who just wants answers now. And today we're sharing the lessons that we've learned from our week. Clearly, I have some lessons to learn because as much as I am the fun parent, I left my child waiting too long to get her room clean.
Well, I got a phone call this morning, very, very early.
Very early.
And by the way, when I say this morning, obviously this is going to air on Friday. The podcast drops on a Friday. We're recording it the day before. So Thursday morning, I get this phone call from our eldest daughter, moved out, married, in her early 20s, living life, going to uni, working, all that sort of stuff. Pouring rain in Brisbane, some really torrential rain that we've had over the last little while. And she rings to say, Dad, I'm just calling to let you know how much I appreciate you teaching me to drive. Because she was driving through the rain and people were driving dangerously and not very well. And
they didn't have their lights on. They were slowing right down, which obviously when you're on a freeway with a 100-kilometre speed limit, no one was using their lights or their hazard lights or anything. Just so dangerous. And she was like, I'm completely comfortable. I know what I'm doing. I can drive to the conditions.
Because my dad taught me.
And she was grateful.
And oh gosh, I don't know if I can say this without making. I'm not trying to shame you, I promise. But isn't it good that I taught her? Because when you tried to teach her, have we told the story about what happened when you tried to teach?
We may have told this story.
Do you mind if I tell it again for people who are new to the podcast or missed it?
Well, you weren't even there, so I don't know how you can tell the story. But off you go.
Okay, all right. So here's the deal. Chanel goes to get her driver's license. She gets her L's. I've said to Kylie that morning, you're not...
She goes before school.
Before school. Just take her straight to school. I'll get her driving, and I really want to be the dad that teaches the kids to drive. I'll teach her... I'll give her first lesson tonight. And you said, no worries, except she was so excited when she got her L's and passed the test that on the way to school she said, Mum, can I please just try driving just once? And what did you say, honey?
Okay.
You just rolled over, just acquiesced. We had this conversation and so...
well, you didn't give me any reason why I shouldn't.
Rule number one,
You
always
just
provide a very
told
clear
me
rationale.
that you would do it after school.
I didn't provide that rationale for any requests that I made. And so you're like, yeah, I can teach her. So anyway, you've pulled into a church car park and it's completely empty. We've got a manual car and you're trying to teach her how to pull the clutch in and out and just move the car forward.
Get the timing right.
Right, yeah. Get that little massage of the left and right foot happening. And how'd that go?
It was disastrous.
So after her
We had
demonstrating,
smoke coming out the back.
so
not even bunny hops. There was no bunny hops. There was just a whole heap of smoke and
engine revving and stalling.
And stalling.
Yeah. So after she demonstrated her utter and complete incompetence and incapacity for doing anything without at least some more help, you've
I
said,
told her it's time to go to school.
right, you've said, let's swap seats, I'll drive. And she says, oh, can I just try and pull the car out onto the side of the road? And you said,
You know when you say it like that, seriously.
yeah, but when you're in the moment, it felt like it was a nice thing to do, right?
She was so excited. She was so excited. And I just wanted to give her that feeling that she wanted. So just a little bit of background here, though.
Right.
She'd been watching all of her friends who had got their licenses or were preparing to get their learners driving automatic cars.
Yeah, but even so, watching somebody drive is not the same as driving.
No, but that's a huge thing. So she was watching her friends in the car park drive and reverse back and then reverse into the car park, just these little, inching out. And they don't have to worry about any clutches or anything like that. And so it looked very easy. And in her mind, that's exactly what she thought was going to happen.
So after 15 minutes of her demonstrating that that's not how it works, you decided to let her have a go at driving on a real road. You let her...
it was a quiet road.
Yeah, was it? Thank goodness for that. Thank heavens for that. So the car edges ever so slowly towards the... You know where the curb... like the driveway dips down and then meets the road. The front wheels are resting in that little divot there, and you say, okay, release the clutch, let's accelerate a little bit. Long story short, she accelerates like crazy. She drops the clutch. The car speeds out into the middle of the road. She grabs the wheel and turns it to the left, full lock. The car does like a 180, spins around, and then she straightens up the wheel and the car goes straight towards the gutter, bounces up the gutter. She finally manages to find the brake, skids across the grass, crashes into the wall of the church. The airbags are deployed. The car is a write-off. There's a baby in the back seat, by the way, who is unscathed, wearing a seatbelt. Everything was fine. Airbags everywhere, noise everywhere, car horn blaring. And a few minutes later, you call me and say, hey, just wondering if you could come down to the church down the road. I want to show you something. And I've said, did you let Chanel drive? And you said, uh-huh. And I'm like, okay. I hung up the phone. I didn't ask. I thought either Chanel is a natural or we need a new car. And I was right.
You were right. About what? Both. She's a natural.
She gave us the opportunity to get ourselves a new car. And so Chanel that night came out in another car with me.
Well, no. Let's put this again in context. She literally did a runner. I couldn't find her for about half an hour.
She did.
She was
She
hiding
ran.
and she swore she would never get behind the wheel again.
And so I gave her a big hug. I cracked up and said, this is one of the funniest things
And
I've ever
let's
seen.
take a photo.
Let's take some photos. And so I've got photos of Chanel with her hand covering her face, with airbags deployed.
And our car looking like a dead bug with its eyeballs hanging out the side.
And that night I took her out in the car, and I've taught all the kids to drive since then. And
It was a really good learning.
the I'll do better tomorrow is that
I don't teach.
that you don't teach, that I do the teaching of the driving. And she called to say thanks because
And as a result,
I'm a great
live
driver.
a really calm, peaceful life. I don't have to worry about dying behind the car. I'm completely in control.
Yeah, it is. The take-home message from all of this is, number one, if you're going to clean with the kids, going back to Kylie's I'll do better tomorrow, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Quoting Mary Poppins, make it fun, and cleaning suddenly is not a burden. And the take-home message from my I'll do better tomorrow is, I don't know, actually. It was just really nice to get a phone call from my daughter saying that she maybe that's what it is. She appreciated that that I taught her to drive. When we invest in things, as our kids get older, they learn what appreciation is, and they call you now and then and make you feel awesome as a parent.
Well, I think it's also just recognizing that we're gonna make mistakes, which clearly her and I both did that day. But we grow through them, and if we're able to recognize them for what they are, then we give each other the opportunity to continue to learn.
I like that. But ultimately, I think my real I'll do better tomorrow is go to bed on time. Don't make morning guys suffer because night guy's an idiot. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. Hey, have a wonderful weekend. And next week, we will be back with some podcasts that you are going to love. On Monday, we're having a conversation about toy guns. Is it okay for your kids to play with toy guns? Should we be worried? In addition to that, we're going to talk with Dr. Amantha Imber about how the very best people in the world, the very best minds in the world on productivity and efficiency work to make their families better. And my favourite episode of the month, The Doctor's Desk, is coming up next week as well. Can't wait to see you there. Have a great weekend, everyone. For more info, visit happyfamilies.com.au.